Morning, everyone. It is 8:31 on Tuesday, June 6, 2023. This is the regular meeting of the Board of Selectmen of the town of New Canaan. We have a few items to add to the agenda. This item, you have them on your sheet there. First is Capo Baseball Stadium Construction Project. Second is the appointments of 9 members of the Utilities Commission. Third is Tree Warden contracts. So I move we add these 3 items to the agenda.
Second.
Discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
And we're also going to move up 1 item, number 18. Should be sidewalk repair. Tiger and his intern want to present this, and the intern has to be somewhere for an award ceremony, so we'd like to do that early. We'll do that after number 3. So. First item on the agenda is the minutes of the last meeting on May 16th, 2023. I move we approve the minutes. Any comments or corrections?
None here. Second your motion.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Public comments. Members of the public are welcome to provide comments to the Board of Selectmen on agenda topics scheduled for review and or vote. Comments may be submitted electronically since this is a hybrid meeting, and we will read them in the course of the meeting. Does anyone from the public wish to comment? Anybody on Zoom?
Barbara.
It's Barbara. Good morning, Barbara. You want to sit down front there rather than getting up there? Either Mike.
Is this one on?
Good.
I'm looking at the agenda and it's different than the agenda that I had seen previously. So am I to understand that we are not going to discuss the evaluation by VCOM and the other items are not on the agenda?
VCOM is on the agenda.
Oh,
So there's 2 basically agendas for today.
oh, that, I thought that was minutes.
Here you
Okay,
go.
all right. Oh, my heavens. All right, there's a whole lot going on there.
Yes.
So what I would like to just say is very quickly, I'm very excited about the Utilities Commission coming up, and I would respectfully like to request that no actions about cell service or the evaluation of it be taken until the Utilities Commission is seated. Thank you.
We also have a comment. Thank you, Barbara. We also have a comment by email that Chris Williams, a neighbor of the West School property, asked that we submit for the record. I'm not going to read it, but
He asked that it would be read. He sent us all the.
Do you want me to read?
we have a big agenda today. So I mean,
Read it quickly.
Sure.
Yeah, we'll be talking about that later. But once you read it.
This is from Christopher Williams, dated Monday, June 5th. Dear all, I'm writing to you because I am unfortunately unavailable to attend this Tuesday's meeting in person. I was disappointed to learn of Mr. Moynihan's most recent attempt to circumvent due process through the soon-to-be formed Utilities Commission and directly advanced his stated objective of cellular tower development with biased parties of VCOM and the Homeland Towers. It's evidence that Homeland Towers was the firm that introduced him to VCOM. The purpose of the Utilities Commission is to form a group of unbiased, qualified, and resourceful individuals who, among other things, can comprehensively and objectively assess the need for better cell service and to consider all options available today and in the future for our town. This includes running formal RFP processes and soliciting various qualified and independent third parties. I believe the Utilities Commission is being formed imminently. And my understanding from the last several meetings was this is a first order of business. Once formed, the Utilities Commission should directly develop the scope of work for the cellular service needs assessment, then RFP to several qualified firms without direct ties to the Homeland Towers or Mr. Moynihan. The consulting firm should report directly to the Utilities Commission, not Mr. Moynihan, throughout the engagement. The same goes for Cellular Service Community Survey proposed by Great Hill Research. Here, it's especially important that UC members with experience in survey writing review the survey and avoid survey bias, leading questions, and back solving to an intended outcome. Cell service demand needs to be appropriately contextualized versus the cost borne by our town's residents and environment. We must follow due process and not only ensure transparency and objectivity, but also to achieve the best overall outcome for our town. On this basis, Mr. Moynihan's recommended proposal falls short. Thank you for your consideration and public service to our wonderful town. Regards, Christopher M. Williams on Welland Drive.
No relation, but in that spirit, I would move to table indefinitely agenda items 21 and 22.
I think I'd like to just discuss them a little further, if that's okay.
I don't, I'm in complete agreement that we should let this go to the UC. If you want to discuss, I
do
know
too.
we have a long agenda, so.
Yeah. Fair enough. Maybe take it up when we get to that point. Yeah. Thank you.
Any further comments from the public? Anyone on Zoom land? Okay. Just to item 3, Waveney Fair. Hillary Whitman, the executive director
Yes.
of the Carriage Board.
We are proposing to host a arts festival in Waveney Park in the fall. We presented this to the Parks and Rec Commission and received approval. But we need written permission from the Board of Selectmen because there would be items being sold in the park. And we understand that we need a special permission for that for this one-time special event. So I did submit kind of an outline of what would take place, which I can just briefly view. So we would be hosting an arts festival to coincide with our member show. It would be free and open to the community, include artist demonstrations, performances, and workshops. And in addition to the exhibition and sale of paintings, sculpture, jewelry, and ceramics, approximately 35 artists would exhibit in 10 by 10 display spaces or tents in the park, in the parking area and courtyard area of the Carriage Barn and Powerhouse Theater, that sort of section of the park. So that road that leads down to the South Avenue entrance would be closed for that portion of the day. The date would be Sunday, October 1st from 10 to 4 with an alternate date of October 8th. We're expecting about 75 people to be there at all times, including volunteers, artists, staff, and then approximately 100 guests per hour to the arts festival. We would jury and curate the participants in the artists participating, and the artists would pay a fee that would go to the Carriage Barn to be part of this, but then they would be selling their items in the park. All of the participants would have be covered through insurance waiver that they would sign with us. We would file an event permit with the town, provide insurance rider to the town of New Canaan, produce all the directional signage. Restrooms would be available in the Carriage Barn. And we have our dumpster for any garbage or anything like that.
And this has been approved by Parks and Rec?
Yes.
Recommend. Any questions?
Sounds great.
So this is a one-time, but it could be a future,
Yeah, it could be an annual thing or
caffeine and carburetors for
similar,
smart people.
but a little more.
Not as big.
Intellect, I should say. How long is this going to go for?
10 to 4.
10 to 4. Okay, so it is kind of an all day. thing.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
I may have missed it. Where will the tents be?
They would be in the parking area in front of the Carriage Barn and sort of up towards the walled garden. So that portion of the road would be closed.
Okay. I move we approve this request from Carriage Barn Art Center as described by Hillary. Second.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Hillary.
Thank you.
Okay, now let's get the police out of here. Oh, I'm sorry, we're gonna do the.
Get the police.
All right, good morning.
This is the last week for interim.
Yes,
Okay.
there's a luncheon on Thursday.
Morning.
Good morning, Tiger.
Thank you very much for moving this item up. There's a scholarship breakfast this morning, so it starts at 9. So I try to have the interns come and present at least one project to the Board of Selectmen. So I appreciate you moving this forward. So Walker's going to take you through what they discovered, what they measured, what they figured out, and what they bid in the overall decision. So
Can we introduce your two interns?
I'm sorry. So this is Walker Blair. And this is Sebastian von Stockham. Walker's going to go to Lehigh, play football and study mechanical engineering. And Seb's going to go to the University of Vermont and study environmental sciences. So that's the two. Seb's been splitting his time between DPW and the Nature Center, and Walker's been with us the entire time. So
Okay,
Right.
All right, so this project is the repair of a stretch of sidewalk around 156 feet long outside the Vine Cottage on Main Street. The fire, excuse me, the fire trucks, as they come out the firehouse, they have hit the granite curbing and caused it to shift outwards, allowing water to permeate between the concrete sidewalk and the curb, which has caused major cracking and even in one place sinking under the concrete, the rest of the sidewalk level. And we went out to bid to 6 contractors, got 2 quotes back. And we recommend that the contract be awarded to Peter Lanny Inc. for $24,786 with a contingency of $2,250 for a project total of $27,036.00. The funds are currently available.
any questions?
Thank you for that. How do we assure that we don't have the same issue with the fire truck hitting and creating the,
we're going to,
Damage.
part of this had to do with the fact that we had a gas line that went through there and the water line went through there. So some of that settlement is not all related to the fire truck.
Got it.
They have to actually drive on the unit on the sidewalk to kind of make their turn in. But the sidewalk was only at present a 5-inch depth. We're going to make it a 9-inch depth. So that'll help. And then reinforce the granite curb itself. So it'll be more of a monolithic pour together.
so as the curb gets higher, does that make it more?
No, the curb will stay its height. It's only a couple of inches
I see.
above ground.
Okay.
So that they can mount it right now. But the problem that we had again was the gas line went alongside of it, caused a little bit of undermining.
Got it.
Then the granite curb shifted once we hit it, and then we got water inside, and then that was the problem. So once we settle it all back together again,
Fix
put
it
it
up.
back together again, we should be fine.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Sorry, should let you answer.
So this was a one-time event in terms of the hitting or multiple?
I think it's over time,
Okay.
exacerbated by the fact that the gas line went through, to be perfectly honest with you.
Right.
It just so happens that they drove over and punched through it, which then allowed us to go out there and take a look. And then once we took a look, we could see a separation
Right.
between the two and could see the undermining throughout the rest of the sidewalk. So at that point in time, I said, well, now we've got to come back in and replace the whole thing. So I really wouldn't blame it on them at all. It's more, wear
I
and
never
tear.
blame anything on the fire department.
Absolutely not.
Good stuff. Thank
Yep.
you, Walker.
Any other questions?
None.
I move we approve this request from Public Works to enter into a contract with Peter Lanny Inc. in the total amount of $24,786, which includes a contingency.
Doesn't.
No, contingencies on top of that.
On top of that, 2250 for the granite curb and sidewalk replacement in front of Vine Cottage, as described by Tiger and Walker.
Second here.
Further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you,
very
Walker.
much.
Okay. Can you sit down?
Clearly.
We have the chief.
It's more incentive to keep it short, right? Want to come up, Eddie? Thank you for having us for the update. Joined here by the police department as well. Brian Humes, I think, is online.
Oh, good.
The
Okay.
architect, if you have some questions for Brian. I think and Tiger, of course, thank you. Joe is not able to join us today. Before we get started, of course, all the members of the building committee, no changes there. The two non-voting members have been particularly helpful as well. Stuart Sawabini, not a surprise to anyone. He's always involved when it comes to security and safety matters in this town. He's done an amazing job for us, and a shout out to Stuart. Also a shout out to Tom Turrentine, who has been our liaison with the EMTs, and of course, as a very interested neighbor, interested party, a building that shares some utilities that may not in the future. They've been very involved as well. The construction will obviously affect them as well, with different routing and things like that. So we want to make sure that they're very much on top of what's going on, and he has been invaluable in doing that. So throw it to them. So from a top-down view, the reality is nothing has really changed. It's the good news. The timeline has remained exactly where we started, which is again, the lead time. The critical thing here is getting the Board of Ed out to their new facility, getting that fit so they can move in, being able to move the police department in, and then we will start construction on the current police building around Thanksgiving. So the end of November is the current schedule. That construction, we're going to hold it out there for 2 years before we. Let's put it this way. You never know what's going to happen in construction. We could do it a lot less time, but if we all just assume the police will be in there 2 years after we start working on the building, I think that's a fair assessment and a fair target. Could be sooner, but we will see. From a budgeting perspective, again, no changes. So we have Slam, who is our owner's rep, who we've worked with before. And of course, the Turner people are excellent as well with their cost estimators, say people who have done a lot of other work in the town. And of course, the architect, Brian. Thank you. There's Brian. And as the construction documents continue to be finalized, the construction budget continues to be fine-tuned and polished, and we are in the pretty much the exact same place. I think there's been a $33,000 delta, and so construction costs, call it a little over 20 million, and then it's going to be the moving costs and the soft costs that'll get us to the money that's been allocated so far to us, the $1.5 million to get us going for professional services, which basically has been covering the architect fees, the owner's rep fees, and Turner to get us going, and the 27.5 million, which has been approved by the town bodies to finalize the project. So that's really where we are as far as the details of the move and what's happening there. The money's coming out of the building committee's budget, but the building committee doesn't really want to get. We don't want to get in the way of the professionals who are doing the work, and so they can give an update on the move. Is that fair?
Sure. Yeah. In fact, we'll be presenting later on about moving some of the critical radio equipment and moving that to a different location outside of the police department, so construction can commence in the fall. That radio equipment is vital to the network or whole system, so it can't lose power, it can't get a cable cut by mistake or anything like that. So we're going to relocate that to a more permanent, better location. We've been working with Ryan as far as outfitting the 39 Locust, and I think we're on track. We've met last week with all of the interested parties for the critical equipment, the 911 system, and everything that goes with that. That's a big lift. There's a lot of people involved in that. So we had a all hands on deck meeting for that. So that's going well, that's progressing. And I don't know if Brian has any other updates for 39 Locust or the move.
No, I think you described it well.
So we're on track. So that's good.
Guys, when is the Board of Ed moving out? I know you said you guys are moving in.
I think it was
August 24th.
August.
end of August.
Yeah, I just met with Bill this morning, so he's looking at the first or second week in August to bring them over.
So you'll have a month or two to
Yeah.
set things up. And
Yeah, you guys really don't have to do as much work as you thought you would have had to. Brian has done a good job of sort of laying out. The police has been very accommodated and figuring out what it needs and for that space. And so the plan is very realistic.
Yeah, there's not a lot of construction that's going to need to be done at 39 Locust, we'll just have to partner up with some of our neighbors for prisoner transport and prisoner holding, because obviously there's no cells over there. And then we'll have to reach out to some of the local gyms to get a workout facility and shower facilities. Probably the YMCA we're going to reach out to and see if they can partner with us for that.
And it's also very fair that just from a civic perspective, the community has to realize that that's where the police department is going to be. I think we all understand, you know, guy whose office is off of Forest Street there, you see the traffic on Forest Street when school lets out and when those schools, which do a wonderful job for the community, but they draw very, very well. And so the access to Locust will be from Locust Avenue. And that's how people will be accessing the police station, the parking. There will be some parking set aside for the public out there. And so, you know, any opportunity to remind the public that that's where the police station is going to be is worthwhile.
So not to channel Don Rumsfeld, but do we know unknowns, the known unknowns and the unknown unknowns? with
Actually, we
respect
talked
to-
about that the other day. So Brian has worked on this building for how long, Brian?
Since 2007.
So it's been poked and prodded. You know, it's been poked and prodded, but that's no guarantee, obviously. We were taking a little tour the other day in the old gym, and you see, well, we poked the hole here, we poked the hole here, and then everything's fine, but it doesn't mean we poked the hole over there. So things could go awry. We're not going to say they can't, but this building has been poked and prodded for some time. We brought in all kinds of experts to do what they can to give us the go ahead that we're not going into a quagmire, but it is an old building.
Yeah, I think it's really helpful that Brian's had a long time of experience with this particular building. I mean, a good example of an unknown is the Playhouse.
Yeah.
Turns out, who'd have thunk it? The prior owner decided to divide the Playhouse into two theaters instead of one, and ended up pouring a bunch of concrete into the Playhouse, making it structurally unsound. And by the way, never got any permits for it.
No.
Right. So, that's the concern that I have about this building, but I think it's really helpful that
And
Brian's.
the high school had asbestos issues.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that. So, believe me, we're well aware of all these things. And, we've, as a committee, and Brian certainly has done everything really above and beyond to give us a good feeling about it, but there's still no guarantee.
Yeah.
I think that's fair.
Just a quick question. So for the public access to the temporary space on Locust Avenue, is that entry on the first floor and you have to take an elevator up, or how?
Can get to it either side. Through the parking lot is there's no stairs, but then from the Forest Street side, there's the stairs up to the main lobby.
And that's where the public will
where
have
the public
access
will have
to.
access,
Okay, okay.
And
great.
we'll have our records management office there and our dispatcher. So they'll greet a person. They'll be able to see a person.
Okay, perfect. Thanks.
And as far as the design of the new police facility, there have been no major changes. There have been some tweaks about how floors will be constructed. There have been some things like that, but nothing that the public would ever see or notice.
Yeah.
And we went through P&Z. We got the approval for the building as it is, where the generator will be located. So we've gotten the Tigers. Is there anything else we need from that perspective? I don't think so.
Just it's going to be more welcoming, which is great.
Yeah.
Because right now it's not welcoming, and it's not fair to our wonderful guys in blue, and because they're welcoming in their own manner. So
Yeah.
this is
We're
great
gonna have
stuff.
one of the best police departments in the country, which of course we do. We want the facility to help showcase that.
Absolutely.
Why don't we bring, since Andrew and Captain Farraga are here, and before you all depart, let's bring the public safety radio item number 19 forward. Joe's not here to present this, but
Joe should be.
oh, Joe is here.
No, I don't. He asked me to present it.
Yeah, so why don't we just do, this is number 19, the request from Public Works and the Police Department Building Committee.
Thanks, Bill.
Thanks, Bill.
Thank you, Bill.
So this is to enter into a contract with Norcom, our radio vendor, to relocate the prime radio equipment from where it's currently stored at the police department to Waveney Park, to a more secure location. Like I said, it's equipment that's vital to the whole radio network, and it can't be in the middle of the construction. It can't lose power, can't have a connection cut. It's connected through our network with which our IT department keeps running, and also it needs obviously power. So where it will be is going to be on backup generator, and it's going to be much better location for it and safer and sounder. So we're probably, looks like we're going to leave it where we're going to move it to Waveney even post construction. So it'll be a better location for it.
Questions about this item?
I assume that intentionally you don't want to say where it's located.
We prefer just to
Okay,
leave it general.
got it.
If we could.
Yep. Understood. Thank you.
No questions here.
I have no questions. I move we approve the request from the Police Department Building Committee to enter into contract with Norcom as described by the chief for a total cost of $96,000 for moving of the prime public safety radio site to Waveney Park. Do I have a second?
Second.
For the discussion? All in favor? Aye.
I actually did have one other question. How big are we talking about? Is this something that's going to be?
It's a
in
few
the site?
computer racks and some
Okay,
very
so it's-
technical equipment that's specific to radio. So it's not a large
Okay.
area.
All right, thank you.
Small closet.
Okay, I didn't realize you were going to depart, Bill. I thought that was, has Brian departed? I guess so.
No, there he is.
Anyways, so thank you, Bill,
Okay.
for leadership of the building committee, and Brian, great job. How close are we to construction drawings to go to bid?
Okay.
We are transferring drawings to Turner on June 13th.
Yeah, so on June 13th, they'll have them, they'll be able to put them out to bid, because right now, you're absolutely right, it's just a theory, what the actual construction cost, 20,363,000. Okay, that's a nice number, but it's a theory until we get the people who are actually going to do the subcontracting work, give us a bid. It's, again, they've scrubbed it as well as they can. They obviously as close to these kinds of things as you can imagine, but the real number comes back to us in July, August. Yeah.
Very good. Okay. Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tiger. And Captain Ferenga, I guess, is going to present. Then are we done with the police for the agenda? Andrew? Deputy Chief Andrew Walsh. Item number 5, police vehicles.
Morning.
Morning.
Asked Deputy Chief to sit here just in case there's questions about the previous vehicles that were ordered before I got to the seat. But basically, we're switching from Ford Explorers to Chevy Tahoes. Identified a dealership in Massachusetts, which they have vehicle availability and the price is a little less. So we're actually able to, we canceled the 2 Explorers we ordered out of last year's budget. We were budgeted for 3, we could only afford 2 because of Ford's price increase. But we're actually able to add that 3rd car back going to Tahoe. So basically here just to get the money released to move forward with the order with Colonial Municipal Group in Massachusetts.
Any questions?
So why the changeover to the Chevy?
Right now, Norwalk's doing it. It's starting to happen around us, but they're just available. The Fords are really bad.
So it's just availability primarily?
Availability, and they have a good product, and they can deliver. He said he starts to get them mid-July. So the 2 Explorers that were ordered on the previous budget, they're still not even available. So to try to order 6 more, it'd be a long time before we get them. We have a lot of cars.
Do you think the Chevys are the same, better,
They're good.
faster?
They look larger. I mean, they should be able to handle everything we need. They will be able to. It's just
They're available.
they're available and they got a product. So it's not like we're going to like Toyota saying, hey, we're going to make a police car out of this. They're pushing a police vehicle. They have a good package, and like I said, it's becoming popular, and it could just be their availability over Ford, and the price is a little less. So
Good. Okay.
Will they have tinted windows?
Yes.
they will have brighter decals.
Okay. No other questions? I move we approve this request from the police department to enter into a contract with CMG Colonial Municipal Group in Massachusetts to purchase 8 2023 Chevrolet Tahoes and 1 2023 Ford F-50 police responder for a total of $386,967.74 as described by Captain Ferenga. Second
Here.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Bob.
guys.
Okay, that brings us back to item number 6. Tiger, you have a few. Nick is here as well.
Nick is at the plant. He was unable to make it. He's taking care of some issues at the plant itself. So he asked me to take this item. So this is for our purchase of liquid sodium hydroxide for the wastewater plant. We received 4 bids with a high of $2.13 down to a low of $1.55 a gallon. We estimate the usage around 20,000 gallons a year for an estimated yearly cost of around $31,000. Savings in our budget would be about $5,600. Last year, the price had doubled in price. We had gone from 87 cents a gallon to $1.82. Now we're back down again. Same vendor. Don't know exactly
Why is that? What is this stuff made of?
It's just a chemical. It's just, there's no rhyme or reason. I looked all the way back to 2012, fiscal 13, fiscal 14, 2012, 2013. And we were paying 86 cents and 93 cents in 13 and 14. And then we were pretty constant all the way through till 23.
Tiger always got the facts.
Yeah. And it
So I was
jumped and came
prepared.
back. So
Thank you.
you're welcome. So if you want to know what it's used for pH control at the plant. The biomass itself performs much better when we keep a pH of around 7. So we'd like to go forward with this purchase from Borden and Remington Corporation for sodium hydroxide.
Questions?
On here.
I move we approve this request from Public Works to enter into a contract with Borden and Remington Corp. as described by Tiger for an estimated yearly amount of $31,000 for liquid sodium hydroxide. Second.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Are you coming back?
I'll come back. Yeah. After.
On how? Good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks.
So this is, the first one is for 2 awning purchases, one for the pool. And it will go along the snack bar so that while people are waiting for food, they're out of the shade. And the second one will be down at Mead Park. The Mead Park one, same thing. There will also help if on cold, rainy days, people will be able to get their food there too. They're both 6 feet wide and 18 feet long, so they're not going to be huge, but they are going to be permanently installed. The one at Mead Park, Apple Cart is willing to give us 20% of the installation cost and product cost. So it's $1,750. And the one at Mead Park, we should have installed before the end of the month. The pool will probably be into next budget year.
So John, these are fixed and not retractable?
They're not retractable. They're going to be with a pitched roof on both sides. They will be fixed, and they recommend that we leave them up year round, even the cover on top. It will last better than trying to re-stretch it every single year. So, and they say they should look good for about 10 years. So the metal framework is all galvanized.
So both of these are in next year's budget, not?
No, wait. The one for Mead Park, as long as they can have it completed, we want to do in this year's budget, which they said they could if we get approval today. The one at the pool will go into next year because that probably won't be done until the beginning of July.
Do we do the installation or does the company?
Company does they provide the awning and they install
They
it.
do.
Yes.
Okay. Great.
So, excuse me, you'll break up the fee of 2125 into
Yes. Basically
2 different awnings
awning
for
for the
budget,
awning itself
purposes.
and installation is $87.50.
Right.
We put a contingency on there just to make sure that there's no crazy price increase.
So the installation is 8750 and the balance is that the two-
Installation and
and-
awning is
okay,
$87.50,
got it.
yes, for each one.
Well, for the questions, I move we approve this request from Parks and Rec departments to enter into a contract with NYCT Solutions for a total of $20,125, which includes a contingency for purchase and installation of 2 awnings at Banquet Pool and Mead Park Lodge as described by John. Second,
Second.
all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Okay, the next one, it's a robotic paint machine. We've been demoing a few different paint machines over the years. This is actually in the 24 budget year, but we want to get on the list to order. This will be used mainly for laying out our fields. If we need to lay out a soccer field, the field sizes and layout will be pre-programmed and updated as they change. As an example, girls lacrosse changes their field sizing. Seems like every year, but it's probably about every 5 years. They
Now,
make
come
little
on.
tweaks to the field. But this machine will lay out the whole field using GPS and cellular technology. We demoed this exact one at Waveney, and in about 20 minutes, it laid out the whole field. With that said, that would probably take two guys about 2 hours by the time they're done running strings and everything else. And
Amazing.
the field came out perfect. So
Any questions about?
So this, sorry,
Okay.
what, this one machine, this will take care of how many fields and how many different sports or?
it will take care of all the sports. So it will even lay out parking lots. If we wanted to, like for the 4th of July, we put some lines out there for parking cars to make it more efficient.
Wow.
And it will take care of that. We will use it mainly for the initial layout, both spring and fall for fields.
And the paint that's put down there, it's all been tested. It has no pesticides or anything in it.
No pesticides. It's latex paint.
Latex paint.
It's in this case, it's watered down latex paint.
And
So
then
that it can go through.
it just fades on its own.
Yep.
Yeah.
We'll use the same paint that we have been using
I see.
on our
It's just
athletic
this-
fields. Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
You're gonna use this to lay it out, which is tough as someone who's done it in my own backyard. Lines go this way. Is it just a layout or would you repaint?
It
with
would
machine-
work to repaint.
Right.
We think will probably be more efficient. We have a ride-on paint machine.
Right.
And we can repaint all the fields in less than a day. And we do that every week. With this machine, it would take, 20, 25 minutes for each field. And you still have to, it's not like it can leave the shop and go take care of it. You still have to have somebody with it and filling up the paint and everything else. So, yeah.
No further questions? I move that we approve this request from the Parks and Recreation Departments to purchase Tiny Line Marker Pro X from Tiny Mobile Robots in the total amount of $45,000, which includes a contingency of $2430. I have a second
Second.
for the discussion. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, the hydration stations. A lot of our water fountains well, some of them are not even operable. But we want to replace them and improve them. And what we've been finding is most people go out and they have a water bottle with them or their own water container. So what we want to install is bottle fillers. So these will be
And not have spouts?
and not have regular drinking fountain spouts. We run into some problems with ADA requirements and having to have two separate ones out there. And with this, with just the hydration bottle filler, we don't have those same requirements. They meet the requirements for ADA like that. So we want to replace the two at the water tower turf fields. There's one by the tennis courts, and then there's one between field 1, 2, and 3 over in the corner area. So we want to replace those two. We want to replace the one at the big baseball field at Mead Park. And then the last one will also have a dog bowl on it. And we want to replace the one at the dog park.
Something for everyone.
Yes, exactly. Does the firm do the installation or do we?
We'll do the installation.
installation.
This is just for the purchase of the fountains themselves.
So, sorry, just minute question here, but if you're purchasing a product and you're paying extra for the shipping, why would there be a contingency?
We just want to make sure with the way things have been volatile, even though we have a quote now.
Yeah.
We want to make sure when we we have the PO. And I think this might become clearer when I get up to the big mower when we talk about that. But we don't anticipate using the contingency. But even if for some reason the shipping changed or anything like that. If the shipping changes.
I'm not a big fan of contingency, but okay.
Tiger, hey, yeah, Tiger, did you send your contingency memo to the selectmen. We've talked about this before. Tiger went back and looked at all the projects and we relatively rarely use contingencies,
Right.
so.
So why have it?
The worst problem is it would shut us down. Yeah, that's the hard
forbid.
part.
But anyway, this memo will be coming to you to
Okay, good. Thanks.
understand that.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Not here.
Okay, I move we approve the request from Parks and Recreation Departments to purchase Murdoch push button outdoor bottle fillers from Equiparts at a total amount of $14,852.85, which includes the contingency. Second,
Second here.
all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Okay.
Okay, so repairs to the playgrounds. This is for the three playgrounds we have, the one Mead Park, Kiwanis Park and Dixon Park. Every year we have them inspected and there needs to be some repairs done to different pieces of equipment. So this would be for the repairs of all three parks, including materials, except for the slide that has been damaged down at Mead Park because that has already previously been ordered. So that's not included in here, but that's on order now. So
The one that was burned?
the one that got melted a little bit. Yeah,
Melted.
How did it get melted?
vandalism. Don't know exactly. So.
Boy.
Mhm.
Not so bad, actually, but you think it's worse than it is, but
Yeah, but
you're
it's
gonna replace
still,
it anyway.
it changed its shape on the inside just a little bit and the
Yeah.
right thing to do is replace it. But since that was already previously ordered,
Have we got cameras?
there has been.
I think everybody should know that.
Questions about this? I have one question. Where does our Waveney playground stand?
Tiger is working on the committee.
Our committee's gonna meet and then come up with a proposal and idea. We started, we had a meeting scheduled, then.
I don't think it's
meeting
being
got
heard.
in trouble, then we had.
Tiger, who's the committee?
Sorry, so we had a meeting slated for the committee itself, and then.
Again, who's the committee?
So the committee is members from Park and Rec, John and myself. We're looking at outside entities, someone from the town council, things, and the problem that we were running into. And then Monica Capella, who helped us with Mead Park Playground. The problem was trying to get everyone in the room at the same time because everyone's so busy. So some were saying, well, I can't meet, or don't include me. So we're trying to formulate the committee. George Bennington sent me an email yesterday about it, and then bring that together and then come forward with a concept plan, go back to Park and Rec with a concept plan, and then move forward from there. But it'll be well represented in various aspects of the community itself.
So this is the area where the athletic equipment is there. Okay. Correct me if I'm wrong. Was it as much as a year ago that we actually approved the
We've been a
and
little late. We've been a little delayed in getting it launched.
okay. Do we have to reapprove then any new equipment, or it's already been acquired, or?
Nothing's been acquired.
Okay.
We're trying to go with a clean slate for the area itself.
So it might be different equipment than what was ordered for the athletic portion of this park.
It hasn't been ordered.
It has not been ordered, but we just approved it and, okay,
You approved it you approved the budget for it.
okay.
That's all. Nothing.
Not the actual
nothing-
equipment.
That's what the committee is for.
Okay.
Is to approve the layout for both the new athletic area and the children's playground area, and then the equipment thereon.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, any further questions about the repairs? If none, I move we approve the request from Parks and Rec departments to enter into a contract with Playground Medic in a total amount of $21,470 for playground repair work at Mead Park, Dixon Park, and Kiwanis Park as described by John. Second,
Second.
further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so the 16-foot athletic mower, this has been one of those things that's been sitting out there for a while. We try to replace them every 10 years. Unfortunately, with COVID and pricing and delivery and everything else, Toro, which we have a lot of Toro equipment, is not able to provide us with a mower. Their first comment is, if you place an order, it will be at least a year before you receive it. And when it comes in, we'll tell you the price. So that doesn't work very well with us anyways. So we looked elsewhere. The only other mower that meets the same thing, this is a 16-foot wide mower with a cab, is Jacobson has one. With the trade-in, they will be able to meet our budget amount. With that, on your tablets or on the agenda, it said a contingency of 3,400. That's really a freight number of 3,400 for it to be for the delivery. So this is one where we have a solid price. Jacobson says we'll have a price and we should receive the mower by the end of the summer. So we basically going to be staying on our 10-year rotation of this equipment. So.
Any questions?
Nope.
None here.
I move we approve the request from Parks. Well, this is Parks only to purchase a Jacobson JMC HR 800 rotary mower from MTE Equipment Solutions for a 16-inch,
16 foot.
16 foot.
Yeah. 16-inch.
Mower in the total amount of $150,000 and 85 and 32 cents, less a trade of $17,000 as described by John. Second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
How many more, John?
Coming to the end. Okay, the next one, Mead Baseball, the large field backstop repair. This is some work that we wanted to do a year ago, and unfortunately, we have to take the field out of commission for a few days. The backstop is, well, it's over 25 years old, but I'm probably going to say it's over 40 years old, but I don't really know. But the framework itself is in great shape. It's just simple way of putting it. It's ugly. It had green paint put it on it. The paint's coming off. There's some rusting. So we want to remove all the fabric, the chain link fence fabric from the backstop, prep and prime and paint the backstop itself black, and then replace the chain link fabric fence throughout the backstop. So we've gone to 3 companies to receive prices, and we want to go with the low bidder of Total Fence for this work. And this will be done the end of July, beginning of August, when we can move the few games that are playing to one of the other baseball fields.
Any questions?
One here.
I move we approve the request from Parks and Recreation Departments to enter into a contract with Total Fence in a total amount of $34,100 for the removal of existing fabric fence, painting of backstop supports, and installing new black fencing fabric at Mead Park. Mead Park.
The Mead Park, yeah. I'm sorry.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
I asked one question of John while you're here and we're coming up to the next topic. Pesticides, have they been deployed? I know it's usually in June.
It's the end of June.
Not
June.
yet. Okay.
But we will be making notification.
You're going to notify.
We're going to do that on the website. Yes, we're finalizing the day with the rain date.
Okay.
too, so, yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Number 13, seasonal employees.
Okay, so we are here to present a couple positions for the Recreation Department. For camp director, we had 12 applicants, but only 3 took interviews, and we have hired all 3. For the art coordinator, we had 10 applicants, only 4 interviewed, and we hired 1. And for camp counselor, we had 26 applicants, only 15 took interviews, and we hired 12. So I think what we're finding is that we were a little late in the process because we had hired Zach later in the year. Next year we'll start a little earlier. But we do have a good group and here they are. The salaries will be between 15 and 29 an hour, depending on experience and the positions they're in. So
And how do we post for these positions?
we post through ADP, and what that does is then puts it out to most area websites and some of the newspapers. So
And does this include when you do the hires, do you do background checks on
on all
of the
all,
candidates?
yep.
Okay.
Anybody over 18.
18. Yep.
Anybody over 18? Okay. And then in your memo, John, you have here, it consists of 16 temporary summer help. Is this of the 4 categories that you have of employees, this falls into the seasonal employees bucket?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes,
That there is a 4th bucket, which is temporary.
correct.
And that's not in that
No,
category.
these are
Okay.
seasonal.
Thanks for the clarification.
Right.
No worries. All right. We're all getting good at this, so. Great. Thank you very much for that.
Nothing to add. Thank you.
I move we approve this request from the Recreation Director to hire summer camp counselors as described by John of these at-will employees. So, second.
Second here.
Of these employees, yes. Of the seasonal employees, yes. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Waveney House improvements. Tiger.
Good morning again. This work is for basically new door handles and saddles in Waveney House itself. We'll be replacing the non-compliant doorway passageway saddles on the first floor. When we had a review at the time, saddles are just slightly high. A little bit out of compliance from what the standard would be. So we asked Alden Bailey to give us a price for that and for changing all the door hardware, removing the existing door and passageway, the round handles at present, and putting in a more decorative lever type ADA compliant handle. The combination of the 2 projects comes to $22,420. We added a contingency of $2,400 for a total of $24,820. The monies currently are available and we'd like to go forward with this project.
What are the saddles?
Saddles are basically the in between the 2 doorways. So if you're coming from the dining area into the conservatory, that's one. There's another one from the dining area.
It's a riser. It's
a short rise.
so it doesn't
between the-
comply with ADA.
No, you have to, if it can't be greater than a half an inch, and if it is up to a half an inch, the first quarter of an inch you can come up and then you have to be beveled across. And so we don't meet those standards. So these will allow us to remove them and replace them. It's
So
kind of a delicate
we're
work.
doing this as part of the ADA compliance.
That's correct. Yeah.
Any further questions?
No.
I move we approve this request from Public Works to enter into a contract with Alden Bailey for a total of $24,820 for the replacement of saddles and door handles as described by Tiger. Second.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. So this next is for architectural services for the repointing project for the exterior of Waveney House itself. We went to 2 separate firms, a firm that is currently working at Waveney, MKL Design, as well as Architectural Preservation Studios. MKL was not able to participate, but this is certainly more in the bailiwick or in the wheelhouse for Architectural Preservation Studios. They came forward for combination of the phases of surveying, construction documents, bidding, and construction administration for a total of $40,750. We added a 15% contingency of $6,112 for a total of $46,862, and the funds are currently available in this fiscal year's budget. This was approved.
So when's the repointing project going to be done? That will go out to bid separately?
That'll go out to bid separately. That's correct. So this will bring the construction documents together and then we'll go out to bid separate for that work.
Tiger, can you describe repointing? Is that you just putting the
exterior
cement
masonry.
in the, between the bricks and so forth, or the
Yeah.
stone?
So yeah, to look at the entire structure, the lintels, all the windows, things of that nature.
Has that not been done before in the history of Waveney House?
That I am unaware of. That's correct.
I
So we
mean,
did a little
probably
bit of
doesn't
work around
change,
the
right?
windows. We did a little bit of work here and there, but no, that we can't see anything that that might have been done. There's rumor that it might have been done 25 years ago, but I don't have a history of it.
Okay. You'd think that those plans probably don't change from, but it's the same house, right?
It's the same house.
Yeah.
That's correct. But we have to look at each wall, each wall and see exactly what's going on to find out the extent and the nature of the work that's necessary and then design accordingly.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
Questions? I move we approve this request from Public Works to enter into a contract with Architectural Preservation Studio in the total amount of $46,862 for the design and document preparation for the exterior repointing at Waveney House. Second,
Here.
all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. This next is a continuation of the contract for MKL Design Studio for this is basically when we change from a one-phase project at Waveney to a three-phase project. The additional effort that was necessary as well for the preparation of the construction documents, their construction administration services, and they've also been very helpful through our discussions with the DOJ as far as other related issues with the project itself. So the additional effort is approximately $66,280. We added a 15% contingency for $10,000 for a total of $76,280. The monies are currently available in the current project.
Questions?
None.
So what more do we need to do from a DOJ perspective other than set forth today's agenda and what we've already approved?
Are you talking in general? Or are you talking specifically? at
Talking about
Waveney
money,
House?
but
Huh?
I'm talking about what more spend do we have to
That we're
provide for with respect to compliance with DOJ?
we're at present finalizing our negotiations with the Department of Justice at present. There were two items that they asked us to look at deeper. I had one is currently under design, and the other I met with a contractor out there to see exactly what was possible. And then we went back to the department for clarification as to exactly what they were looking for at that area. Once we finalize that, then we'll be able to finalize our settlement agreement, and from there we can finalize the remaining costs.
Good.
And then come forward with projects. But we are
So the
we're-
timing of that settlement arrangement is
I don't want to say within a month because there's settlement agreements,
Right,
but we
right.
once
but
we get
it's a this year type of thing as opposed to.
it's a within a couple of months thing. Yes.
I still don't have a sense of what this work involves.
This is additional architectural services required for help in, we went from one phase to three phases. So we had to then split the plans apart, take a look at what was going to be in the first phase, which is in the second and third phases, and then their effort helping us navigate through the changes in the building itself.
I mean, is this railings and stuff or what?
She did this part of this work, yes, was to the DOJ asked for an as-built of the entire loge area that they had to create, and then additional railing design effort for that. You already approved the railings.
Right.
This was the design effort thereof. So yes, when we were working through their cost associated with the various aspects, that's why this didn't come before the other.
Okay. No further questions?
Not here.
I move we approve this request from Public Works to enter into a contract with MKL Design Studio for a total of $76,280 for the engineering architectural design services for the ADA compliance work. Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. So this next item is for the patio at the pickleball courts. When we put in the new court itself, the overall footprint was larger than what is present. So now we have a large area, unused space, that right now is gravel. When we met with the DOJ, they felt that the gravel was not a suitable material. Also, the gravel itself is being tracked onto the courts on players' shoes, and it could lead to an early degradation of the playing surface. So we would like to install a nice bluestone patio throughout with landscaping. Maria from our department did an excellent job in the design. Monies were budgeted for this year. We went to Fortino Escalante, since he had done excellent work down at the Mead Park Lodge, as well as the work at the Waveney House Bluestone Walkway area. For a price, he came in at $60,975. We had budgeted $75,000 for the work. We put in a contingency of $9,000 for a total of $69,975.
And we didn't bid this?
We did not. No, given the fact of his excellent work, both at the Mead Park Lodge and at the Waveney area, the Bluestone area, we did not. I went to Fortino directly. I felt his work warranted that. And when we compared his pricing from each location, it's commensurate.
Tiger, this is in the budget, this year's, next year's.
This year's budget.
This
That's
year's
correct. We had $75,000 budgeted for this year.
Okay.
For the questions, I move we approve this request from Public Works to enter into a contract with Fortino Escalante in the amount of 70,000?
69,975
for the installation of a new patio at Mead Park pickleball courts. Second,
Second here.
in favor? Aye.
Thank you. Item 18, we did.
19, we did.
19, right, I have,
You have the tree warden and the
Capo
Capo baseball.
Field, right.
Is Mike still here?
Mike, I think he was going to try to join us via Zoom, since it was going to be quite lengthy. Do you want to do Capo now and then we'll do the trees?
Let's do Capo, yes.
Okay. So this is design services for construction of a baseball stadium at Capo Field behind Lapham Community Center. Excuse me, went to the current design team, Richter and Segan, TLB Architecture and McCord Engineering. They're working currently on Dunning Stadium. Richter and Segan did the master plan for Waveney itself. So they're intimately aware of everything that's in and around the stadium in Waveney Park itself. Richter and the total cost for the three contracts was $135,550. I added a 15% contingency for $20,350. That contingency is basically for the permitting phase. So since it's very difficult to determine on a permitting phase, it really comes down to hours of effort for meetings and things of that nature to meet with P&Z. That's what we're looking to use the contingency for. That's what we use the contingency for the Dunning Stadium project. They came in well below that for a total of $155,900. The entire funding source will come from the Athletic Foundation. Mike has the monies available. We just need to sit with Ann and then see how we transfer the monies from their account, either at the community foundation to our accounts, and then Kevin can sign the agreement.
Tiger, I'm a little confused. We don't have a project yet for this.
Don't have a project yet for it,
Capo.
but it's been brought to the attention of every board. That's correct. We didn't
Well, but it
create a
hasn't,
project.
hasn't
per
been
se.
approved by town council as a project. Ian? Do we have a project for this? Approved by the town council? I mean, I know it's design work, but we don't have.
Given the fact that it's only design work. And it's not funded by us. We're not committed to actually constructing it. So I don't know if it falls underneath the Bach Amendment at that point. Because that would be on a construction basis, not on.
So you're saying the Athletic Foundation is willing to design this, and if we don't ever approve it, it's lost money.
Can't speak for them, but yeah.
Can we get the concept of what is a stadium? I mean, I certainly understand what Dunning Stadium is. Do we currently call what Capo Field is
No.
now a stadium?
See here,
Sorry.
Is Mike on?
Mike on. Mike,
Can you hear me?
Yes.
yep.
Hi.
Doug,
How are
did-
you?
Question?
Yes, I did. The stadium is it's probably an over estimate of what it is. It would be, it's at the existing Cabos field. And the stadium, quote unquote, would be seating for probably roughly 500 people, although this is all in the design phase. So basically right behind the backstop and in between the first base and third base dugout.
I mean, this is the on your master plan, but it will require town participation.
This is in the, so just because I heard the discussion in the beginning too, it is in the master plan. It will require town discussion. We did bring this up in the January selectmen meeting. We talked about it to the Board of Finance. We talked about it to town council. We agreed to bring this separate, kind of off cycle from the budget plan. But, you know, similar to Dunning, we started the design work at Dunning Stadium with Richter and Segan and TLB in June of last year, where we authorized them to go forward with the design so that we could get to the place of construction documents and know what the project would cost, and then bring that forward to the town, which is what we did in the February timeframe. So this is necessary.
How critical is the timing here? Can we delay this for 2 weeks? So do we have to get this going right now?
I think that from my standpoint, it's extremely critical because in talking to Richter and Segan and others, if we are any hope of trying to get something done prior to next spring, so that would require, you know, some kind of construction in the fall, they need to start working on these design plans and get that project going. My fear with all of this stuff, and I've said it even with the Dunning project and everything, I have dollars that I believe are not that I believe. I know I have committed dollars to this project, and at this point they're pledges, and I always fear that when things get delayed and kicked down the road, that there's a chance that those dollars could fade. And I never blame anybody for you know, fading those dollars. Things and people's circumstances change. So that's my sense of urgency.
And just to clarify, this 155,000, is that just for the design of
Correct.
the stadium? And
Correct.
of the 500 seats that you're suggesting, how many do we currently have there now?
0.
There's no
Well,
bench.
I mean, there's aluminum benches. I don't know, Tiger, what do you think that those seat?
This seats about 50 to 75, 50 to 100 people at the current bleacher set.
Yeah, I would go back to if we approve this, it's really because it is design services and they are the athletic foundation's dollars. If the town never approved this project, it's kind of speculative that you would risk these dollars. So I just, you know, we don't have a project yet that's been approved by the town council. But this is not construction, this is design. So on that basis, we're approving it. I think there ought to be a discussion with the Board of Finance, though, about your scheduling for the overall moving forward to the approval of the
So are you
project.
moving this or not?
We can move it, but again, I just.
I'd like to move it.
I want to be clear with Michael that, and I understand why Dunning, I mean, Dunning was always, the first project discussed.
Baseball's been part of the master plan from day one.
Yeah.
It's
Wow.
not a surprise to anybody. And, you know, Mike's done a terrific job, Dunning, and I'm sure we'll do a terrific job with this. And I'm certainly understanding of his concerns about losing dollars. You know, kids get older and parents start to lose interest. We see this every year.
The last thing I would say is, like, even for the master plan itself, that was something that was underwritten by the Athletic Foundation and we paid for, I guess, at our own risk. We know that all of this needs to be planned and paid for. And until we come with the actual project, that's where we get in, and the construction of the project, that's where we get to a place where we feel like we can ask for town support. But these are all necessary things, and all of these necessary things cost money prior to getting to a place where I'm going to have to explain to the Board of Finance exactly what a project costs. Either I or Tiger can't give anyone hard numbers, which they rightfully should ask for until we have design plans and construction documents.
I'm gonna.
And for the sake of 2 weeks, why don't we take this up in 2 weeks and have a conversation with both the town council and the Board of Finance?
That's fine.
So-
You're welcome to
I
do.
disagree, but that's fine.
So we'll defer on that for 2 weeks.
Okay,
That brings us to,
brings us to trees. The latest bid from the tree warden. Thank you for adding this item. It came in on June 5. We received 3 bids. They ranged in price from 21,370 to 27,260. The low bid was Mill River Tree at 21,370. It's for 7 separate locations in town. They've done nice work for us in the past, and we'd like to award this and go forward. Monies are currently available in this fiscal year's budget.
questions?
No.
I move we approve this request from the tree warden to enter into a contract with Mill River Tree Service for 21,370 for removal, pruning, and stump removal of various trees in town. Second,
Second.
all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
And Nick, go. That was unanimous, I guess. No.
Stepped out.
That brings us to number 20, appointments. This is the appointment to the Western Connecticut Convention and Visitor Bureau, representative for New Canaan, Laura Budd of the Chamber of Commerce for a 3-year term ending June 6, 2026. Any questions about this one?
What is it?
It's the Connecticut Tourism Board.
Oh, and we as a town put forward a representative. Okay, got it. Okay, thank you.
I move we approve this request from someone to make this appointment of Laura for a reappointment to this Tourism Bureau.
Second.
Second, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Shall we wait for Nick?
Why don't we go to ARPA? Or the audit.
Why don't we
letter?
drop down to the audit letter,
Yeah.
number 24, just.
Yep.
Who's presenting this, Ian? Number 24. Mhm.
Good morning. The audit committee has requested to do some internal auditing. With COVID over, they're starting now to go back in to do internal. So they have requested from PKF to do some auditing of processes and bidding in regards to our sidewalk and leaf, sorry, thank you, and our leaf program. The document in front of you is for an estimation of between $12,000 and $15,000 for this audit, 35 to 45 hours of work. As they go through, it's probably about 2 to 3 years worth of invoices, bidding documents, memos, things that we have. So they go through that whole process. So we're looking to get the approval of this engagement letter. The funds are available. There is a line for internal audit processes. So we do have funds available for this engagement.
Questions?
What's the expected outcome?
Um,
Why
there-
are we going through this?
We're going through this to see what the process is from our bidding through our process of going in front of the board, the documents that we have in place. To show that as we go out to bid, do we get multiple offers? Do we not get multiple things like that in those terms? And then they said that if there's any recommendations that they would make through the process.
Okay, you're comfortable with that?
Yes, yes.
And the LEAF program? And the LEAF program?
Yes, in the LEAF program, sorry.
Well, what is that about?
Bidding out, it probably more detailed with the Tiger might be able to help out, but how the
Oh, I
process
now I
of,
understand the connection. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Good question?
Nope.
This really goes to the essence of our procurement process.
yes.
So,
The procurement process? Yeah, okay.
so
And it's a difficult time for all vendors right now. going out for procurement.
Yeah.
I move we approve this request, actually from the audit committee, I guess,
Yes, it's the audit
to
committee.
contract with PKF O'Connor Davies for $12,000 to $15,000 for the audit of sidewalk reconstruction projects and the town lead program. Second,
Second.
all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Ann.
Is this one of many that they expect to do in terms of, or is this just sort of the first time?
They decided not to hire an internal audit
Right.
exterior firm
They're doing project.
Right.
by
they-
PKF itself.
Yeah, I see. Yeah,
So, but it's not within the scope of their audit.
yeah, no, I understand that. Yeah, okay.
Okay, going back to number 21. So we're going to appoint members of the Utilities Commission today. And VCOM, which we had contacted back in, I forget when we first contacted them. Contacted us and said, do they want us to have them proceed, since they had some availability this week and would do the drive test, so that the results would be one of the first things the Utilities Commission has as input. I think Rita Bettino at the town council questioned the independence of VCOM. And I think you saw the chain of emails of all their, they're very widely used throughout New England. So I don't personally have any questions about their independence and their lack of bias. And I just think if the Utilities Commission is going to use, we talked about this before. We want an updated drive test, as was done twice before, actually once by Crown Castle in about 2010. And by the Colorado firm Center Line.
Brick or something.
Center Lines. Center Brook is the architect.
Mhm.
Center Lines. And actually Center Line was more like $30,000 because they came from Colorado with their equipment. This is $99.50. So I think it's something the Utilities Commission is going to need. The real question is, anyone wants to question their independence, you really have to look at their range of clients and the work they do.
So first of all, to Selectman Williams, I'm sorry, I actually thought this would be appropriate as we talked about the Utilities Commission as well. So that for both this and the Great Blue Research survey suggestion, I really do feel, as others have shared, that this belongs in front of the Utilities Commission, and we're excited about going forward with that at a later item here. So I think I think one of the questions about the independence, I did see that stream of emails back and forth, but I actually saw other streams of emails from our constituents. And there is some question as to whether or not it is independent enough. And, let's let the Utilities Commission decide that, and really not more than just the independence, but just what the service is and what it is that we want to get done, that the Utilities Commission wants to evaluate. So we're close. And I really recommend that, and I'm not going to approve this because I really want to see the Utilities Commission be able to step up and decide what the community survey is going to look like, and then how the coverage analysis will be done.
Okay. Number 22, Cellular Service Community Survey with Great Blue Research and our staff. So while we had our interns, we thought, doing surveys is something that is an educational process for them.
That's great.
We've always used the interns for surveys, and we started doing a plan for survey using Survey Monkey, which is probably what was used in 2012 for the Utilities Commission survey at the time. And so we've been formulating questions. We contacted Great Blue, which did our community survey 3 years ago. They are interested in doing it primarily because their technology is much better than Survey Monkey in terms of producing and actually their advice. We can do an amateur survey or we can hire professionals. They did a great job on our community survey. And again, this is kind of a baseline update from the 2012 survey we did as to and in this regard, I would plan on having the questions shared with the appointed members of the Utilities Commission and have them have opportunity to work with Great Blue to get the survey moving. So again, this is a baseline analysis of where we are today versus really 11 years ago.
Yeah, again, I agree. A consumer demand survey is certainly required, but again, I think this belongs under the auspices of the Utilities Commission, and hopefully their first meeting will be as early as June 20th. And so this could be brought before them at that time.
Number 23. Who's doing ARPA?
So at the last Board of Selectmen meeting came up, and I can't remember the context for why it came up, but you had asked Kathleen for just sort of an update on where we are with ARPA. Nothing has really changed since the last time we presented to you. You have the matrix on your tablet showing all of the funds that have been dispersed or allocated thus far. The only, and what I just handed you was the last bit was you all did approve on August 23rd of last year, a plexi-pave project over at Mead Park, and that is still on hold for further review. The good news is I had been sort of in my back pocket also hoping that we wouldn't need funds, and the good news is we don't, but we are trying to upgrade. We are going to upgrade all of the audio and visual capabilities in this room and in the boardroom, which are desperately needed as you see us Band-Aid everything together, although I think it works pretty well. And with the help of Greg Riley and Chris Kaiser and others and Bob Doran, we were able to secure a grant to cover those costs. So I was thinking in the back of my mind that maybe ARPA might be needed for that, but we don't need that any longer. So if you'll just look at the basic bottom line is that we were allocated just shy of $6 million. And we have this 300,000 sort of further study, as I say, the town council and the Board of Finance.
What's the holdup there, Tuck?
I think Kevin or Tiger can address that. This is the flexi pave at Mead Park.
We discovered there's a property dispute as to who owns a piece of, well, not who owns, but the extent to which the adjacent property is jutting into Mead Park and possibly precluding access to the park. So we need to resolve that before we proceed.
Good. Is that part of the survey that we just recently did? Okay, got it.
So we have $747,634 that has not been committed. Of that, if you deduct the 300,000 that's on hold for the project that we just spoke on, we still have 447.
What's the timing on spending, ARPA?
Committed by December 2024. So we've still got time.
24. Okay.
24.
So that's a whole other year. Any thoughts as to, I mean, how do we decide how this remainder of whether it's 447 or 647? How do we think of, or 747? How do we think about the best use of those ARPA funds? And
Well, they can all revert to the town general fund. I mean, the Board of Finance has initially, we could have taken $3 million and put it back into the general fund because of the losses we had because of the way it's calculated. So unless we decide to have other projects to proceed, it will revert to the general fund.
So just one suggestion perhaps is consideration of affordable housing or housing in general issues, which I don't think we don't have on our list at all in terms of consideration. So I don't know. So it'll be this body that decides how the remainder of the funds are.
It starts with you all.
Starts with us. Okay.
In the approval process. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, for the record, you may recall, I was always in favor of holding some of the money back and putting it back in the general fund.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
I don't think we've done that to a penny. I think it's zero bupkis.
I'll bring this to any changes that come up on this. Right now, this is where we're at and things have quieted down a bit, but if there's any changes, I'll bring it to you all.
Perfect. Thank you.
Good.
That brings us, thank you. That brings us to number 25, the Board of Education Technology lease. Who's presenting this? Ian.
So each year, as you know, the Board of Ed goes out for a lease for their various equipment.
This year they're going out for replacement Chromebooks, iPads, let's see, Chromebooks, iPads, iMacs. They're replacing some of the legacy boards that they had, the smart boards. There's about 40 of those, some laptops for the teachers they're replacing. We go out to bid on this. We usually get about 5 or 6 bids. It's to the total of 800,000. And the spend down is usually over about 18 months. We just finished up last year's lease. We finished up the spend of that one. And this gives me the approval to go out and do, put the bid out to the various companies. And we spread it over 4 years, the lease payment back in 4 years.
So just to remind us, so the Board of Selectmen, anybody else, Board of Finance or
It's
just?
going to go in front of the town council as well.
It's got to go all the way
Yeah,
around.
It's got to go through.
Okay, and we're approving the resolution to allow the Board of Ed to enter into a lease agreement.
The town enters in it.
Oh, the
because
town
board
does,
doesn't have
okay.
the ability to go out for the leasing.
I see.
Or bonding. The
Okay.
town enters in it, but the board does
for it.
all the spending, does, they submit the paperwork to us for what they
Right.
need. We send it to the bank and they take care of the payments.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Thank you.
They pay the vendors directly.
Any questions?
And further,
I move we approve the request from, I guess, the Board of Education or the
It's the
CFO
town. It's the town for the Board of Ed's.
for the execution of a lease purchase agreement to acquire computer equipment for the Board of Education as described by Ian. Second,
Second here.
all in favor? Aye.
aye.
Thank you.
Okay. Is in Health Department?
Gino is health. He is a registered sanitarian. He has been with us a little over 6 months, and my recommendation is to bring him off probation. He has fit in well with staff. We have had many compliments from the public and restaurants. He is a team player, and I think he will do very well as a full-time employee.
Questions?
None here.
Gino's a great find and a great steal we've had from Rudy Marco.
We don't steal any.
We do not steal.
Okay, let's be careful.
So I move we approve the request from Human Resources to remove Gino How do you say his last name?
Gino Gagnon.
Gagnon from a probationary status. Second,
Second,
all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Contracts under $10,000. Any questions? Do you want, hours growing late, we have 2 executive sessions, which are going to run concurrently or? Yeah, but do you want to make comments? Is it-
are we doing the utilities commission?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
That's my comment.
Yes. Okay, so after a rather interesting process of finding candidates, which turned up a number of very good candidates for the Utilities Commission, we've landed on 9. Again, the talent in this town is amazing, and I think we have people who not only have an interest in cell service, but also other fields, gas and other utilities. So I think the range of experiences and talents here for these people are remarkable, and I think we've all interviewed them, all satisfied. So you want to make any comments before we?
Sure. Thank you. First of all, I want to thank everybody who's been involved in the Utilities Commission, whether you're a constituent who's been supportive of the re-engagement of the Utilities Commission, or you're interested in what we can do as a town in terms of having great oversight initiatives, et cetera, with the re-engagement of the Utilities Commission. As First Selectman has said, we had just a tremendous number of very qualified. In fact, I would argue that everyone has who has submitted their level of interest to participate on the Utilities Commission are very qualified to serve in public service in our town, whether it be on the Utilities Commission or any other board or commission. So we need to approve, the town council has before us approved an ordinance for 9 members of the Utilities Commission. As background, our original Utilities Commission had 6 members, and they had suggested maybe 5, and then we changed it to 9. So all in all, we are going to recommend these with these 9 members. However, I think an ideal, and I've talked to a number of members of the town council, an ideal and optimal and more sustainable utilities commission structure, in my view, might have been one that had 7 regular members and 3 alternates. And we actually have a good number of candidates that would actually qualify for that model, if you will, 7 regulars and 3 alternates. Mainly for the reason is that most, if not all, of these individuals who we're going to approve today work full time, and not all can be there every meeting all the time. And so having a model that's similar to the Planning and Zoning and the Board of Finance, where you have regular and alternates, I think gives you a better ability to make sure that you always have the right number of people in place to consider whatever is before them at a Utilities Commission meeting. The first one we'd like to actually get started is on June 20th, and hopefully we can get that in place. I'd like to just quickly go forward, because we have to approve not only these 9 candidates, and I'll just give you a broad description. These 9 candidates come from a varying degree of experience. Many of them, whether they are engineers, many of them have actually experience in some form or fashion in the utility space, in the energy space. And I'll just briefly mention a couple of them. We have representatives from the political spectrum, so 5 Republicans, 3 Democrats, and 1 unaffiliated. And they're all over from all over town as well. So just widely distributed. And in terms of gender diversity, there are 5 women and 6 males. We also have 3 lawyers as part of the experience, and 3 members who also have served in public service, actually all former town council members. And so 3 seasoned public servants with another 6 very fresh participants in our public service process. So very excited about the diversity of the group. So if we go forward in Tucker, correct me if I'm wrong here, what we have to do is approve them by the date in which the term ends. Is that correct? So starting with the term ending July. Sorry.
Yeah, why don't I take over to make?
You want to do it? Okay, if you want to start with.
If you don't mind, I'd like to speak too.
Yeah.
I beg your pardon? Yes.
Yeah.
So as someone who's on this board for the first go around of the Utilities Commission, I'm really excited and more convinced than ever that this is the right thing to do. And Kathleen, we've got a plethora of riches in terms of the volunteers that have stepped up. It's not just about a cell phone tower. It's about utilities generally. And a lot of the discussions that I had with these candidates had nothing to do with cell phones. So this is a good day for New Canaan. And so that's all I wanted to say.
Thank you.
By the way, for the record, I agree with you that I think the 7-3 option with the alternates is better than having a 9.
So we're going to ask the town council to go back and consider that. And if that's something that they want to consider, and we've had several times when we have introduced new boards and commissions like the ethics board or the audit committee, after a period of time, there have been tweaks, and possibly that could be considered here.
Yeah.
So the 9 nominees are, I'll read them in the order of what we're suggesting be their terms. Rich Townsend and Karim Kiar and Janie Hunter for terms ending July 2025. We have to stagger these over 3 years. For term ending July. Actually, this is not correct.
Yeah, that's.
It has to be December. No, they have to be December. They have to be. No, but we're appointing them for term. All terms are December 1, unless there's another. Board of Finance is the only one that's this November.
They wanted to get it running up and running.
Well, I know, but we can't create them. All the terms under the charter are December 1 terms. So we're actually, rather than July 25.
Is that required under charter? Is it a requirement, separate requirement that all the terms have to be
Well,
contiguous.
there's no other body that has terms other than December 1, except for the Board of Finance, which has November 15th for some reason. I think we do have to conform to the charter as far as because there's other charter provisions that talk about, reappointment of people.
I don't have the charter in front.
Everyone's on a December 1 anniversary. So all I'm suggesting, we would make these instead of July dates, December dates. Their ordinance says July.
Yeah, it
Well,
does.
that's I think a defect in conforming.
So
with the
you're
charter.
saying it's non-conforming to the charter elsewhere where
Yeah.
it provides for a calendar year
Well,
or December 1.
There's other provisions of the charter that kick into the December 1 date. That's why I think it's important. We conform to the charter. But I think we missed that with the legal review. So
Well, I think that's a town council issue, but I for the sake of today, I would vote the July 1 dates if that's problematic. Ira,
And then change it.
Nick town council needs to change it. They'll change it. We'll just make it retroactive to December 1.
okay, so we're appointing them. They will serve until a charter approved termination date, which is in either case 25, 26, and 27. So the second group is Krista Kennan, Joe Guzzetti, and Sven Anglin for sometime in 2026. And Mike Collins, Bernard Clark, and Haran Katu for 2027. So I move we make those appointments.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Can I just say, just administratively, we still have to schedule the meeting itself. And then at the meeting, they will vote for their chair.
Chairman.
They have to be sworn in.
Right.
And hopefully we can get that done. We send out a letter, Pam sends out a letter, I guess, to the candidates. And the other technical detail is that we have to ask the existing members of the Utilities Commission to send a letter of resignation to the town clerk. And it's very specific. It has to be in ink. She will not take it as an email. So we'll get that done between.
And
now.
that's important because whilst the Utilities Commission has laid fallow,
Yeah.
it's still technically,
Yeah.
on the books.
Yeah. So, okay, great. Thank you, everybody.
Okay, that covers all of our agenda items. We have an executive session on security matters and also on a potential legal claim. And I would invite into the executive session, Dr. Lutzy and Katrina Parkhill for the Board of Education, the chief and his deputy, as well as Captain Ferenga and Tiger. Thank you. Thank you all. And well, I'm not done. We'll invite all the interns in as long as you keep this confidential. Ann, do you want to stay?
It's almost out, almost out. You almost made it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Nice try.
You're right. Given that topic, you're right. Okay. Good catch. And Tucker.
I knew you guys weren't here for the technology release, and I was pretty sure.
All right. And Bob Mantilia. Ann, you don't have to stay. I guess this is not finance. So with that, I move we go into executive session, and I anticipate we will vote on a
Second
matter.
motion.
I anticipate we will vote on a matter when we come out of executive session. Oh,
I've run out of battery. Where's my- Never happened before.
Good thing your meetings start in the morning.
okay, it is 11 a.m. We've departed a late executive session, and we have an action to take an executive discussion, which we discussed a legal issue we have with Cinema Lab, the operator of our playhouse, and we have a proposed agreement to reach with them, and I move that we approve the draft as prepared by the town attorney in substantially the form, and authorize me to conclude it in substantially the form has been presented to our meeting.
Second here.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. I move we adjourn at 11:01.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you. You want to